First try to I don't know, break the ice, because I'm going to improvise a lot. I managed to make slides even though my computer broke already, and I was able to start on them late last night. So I'm Susanna Ånäs. I've worked with Wikimedia projects in Finland, trying to promote the use of these open platforms for different uses. And here I make the claim that this open participation could be seen as citizen science, and the project plan or project idea that has been heard in this context is the idea for, well, it says wiki documentaries here, but it's by another name, microhistory wiki. This is the, I don't know.
Probably isn't an official translation.
Yeah, it's in Finnish, and so.
It's your project, so you can choose.
So we have a poster for the Wikidata project that we have done. Well, I'll talk more about it downstairs in the poster session. That's why I'll say a few words about Wikidata. And the second is the microhistory wiki, which has another, I don't know, brand name, wiki documentaries. And I'll be talking a little bit about that. And then in Finnish, we have, within Wikimedia Finland, we launched this concept of wikiloikka to reflect the digiloikka of the current new opetussuunnitelma.
I called it national curriculum.
Okay, national curriculum for the lower grades, and that's going to be just a brief mention, a brief note towards I don't know, citizen science in the lower grade. I don't know, perhaps. So here we go. First, the Wikimedia projects are several. Everybody knows Wikipedia, but there are other projects. One of them is Wikimedia Commons for images, which holds some 13 tens of millions of media items openly licensed. And another remarkable one is this Wikidata, which is an open data repository of linked data, and it has gathered its data from across the Wikimedia projects and created this database that can be accessed for several courses. Well, I have. I'll come back to that. Okay. Excuse. This is the improvising part. So what we have done, I go back to this. What we have done as an association for promoting Wikimedia projects in Finland. So this is GLAM. The acronym stands for Galleries, Libraries, Archives and Museums. This is a kind of a collaboration model that where these open data actors work together with these memory organizations in order to bring data and content that has been released under open licenses into these projects. So this is a collaboration model, and we have worked with that, and this has produced a lot of, well, the organizations are of course proactive themselves. It's not only us who have made things possible, like that this painting is now also available in Wikimedia Commons under open licenses in high resolution. Within the Wikidata project, I think the greatest achievement is that YLE uses Wikidata for tagging their content. And here's more about Wikidata. Wikidata is a repository of facts about the world, which are in the form of linked data. And I'll go through some of the properties of the data here. So it's a free and open knowledge base that can be read and edited by both humans and machines. First of all, it's free in the sense of free and open data. So the data is published under Creative Commons public domain dedication, which allows you to copy, modify, distribute, and perform the data without asking permission, even for commercial purposes. And I'm going to make this note later on also, but I think I should mention here that from this point, I think that the JHS recommendations should specifically make note that unless data is released under CC0, it cannot be brought into Wikidata. I don't think, well, Wikidata is probably not the primary concern of the scientific world, but still I think it's a very useful platform for data sharing, so it should be taken into consideration from that point. So it's also collaborative. Anyone can edit Wikidata. The project is maintained by the Wikidata editor community, who decide the rules of content creation and management. Of course, well, when we think about releasing data sets, this is probably a counteractive property for managing research data. But if we think about this as a publication platform, this is very useful for the long-term usefulness of the released data. So it's multilingual. Wikidata exists in more than 300 languages for editing, consuming, browsing, and reusing. All the data is the data can be input in any one language, but it can be then it starts to grow and live, and it can be translated into all of the languages, and it can be the interfaces are in all of these languages, as well as the data can be translated to the languages. And secondary, it makes references to databases and data sources outside, so it's that the data isn't born inside Wikidata. It's structured. It actually it extends the RDF expression with sources and qualifiers, so it's more elaborate than just plain RDF. And it is designed to support Wikipedia's centralizing data for different languages. Language links in Wikipedia articles on the left-hand side, if anyone has ever used Wikipedia, and info boxes, which are the kind of short info boxes. And it has an item for nearly every Wikipedia article topic. It's open, it's machine readable, and the data can be used and improved by anyone. And there are tools and APIs that use standard formats to access and import data in there. And the use cases that I already mentioned, Yle has started using Wikidata for tagging, and the Finnish National Gallery has released the paintings metadata already there. They first released it, and then it was imported there. And yeah, you'll find more information. It's now 4 years old. It's run by Wikimedia Germany, and Wikimedia Foundation has started taking greater responsibility for the project. So actually, I just tested Wikidata and Wikimedia projects against the FAIR principles: findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. It's easy to tick them all. So about the idea for wiki documentaries. So when we think about, this is the citizen science part, maybe, yeah. When we think about Wikimedia projects, the communities impose certain restrictions on the projects and the content. So there's specifically a notability criteria, and through thinking about this domain, I think it is also a way of imposing some sort of privacy protection. So the notability criteria is such that you will only be able to write about topics that the community considers important enough or notable enough. And it's also called wiki notability, so that it has no relevance in the real world, or reference. And for this reason, and for let's say citizen history, from the citizen history point of view, for genealogists, local historians, and I don't know, thematic clubs and such who are interested in researching some specific domain, it may be difficult to use these open platforms for research. And actually, I have not really now addressed the question of like, why should I consider the whole of the why should it be considered? Well, at least it can be considered citizen scientific approach to be participating in these kinds of open research areas. But well, that's anyway. That is my claim. But I think the material of these comments will speak for that. I'm not going to go into like very detailed arguments about that. Right. So. So the idea has been to create a new wiki that could be combining materials from open repositories. For example, in Finland we could imagine Finna and Paikkatietoikkuna, such material that has been released already and made available through open APIs and that have been structured properly, and also from these open platforms that exist already in the Wikimedia world or OpenStreetMap and such, and the new possible ones. And this then enrich this with materials that the citizen scientists, citizen historians want to produce, and then also act as a gateway or a gateway to input material into these open repositories, but also in the case of sensitive data or data that needs any kind of protection, then there needs to be additional I don't know, inventions made to prepare the data that is not yet okay for publishing, because this environment could not handle sensitive data. It would have to. This would be both. This would be open regarding both licensing and data protection. So it needs to communicate with other ways of preparing data for publication or public use. So what we have thought of, we've been working with the different parts of this view. This is a new interface for a map warping tool. The idea would be that when you bring historical maps to this open environment, there you would have tools to put them in coordinates. And then when you have done this, then you can further use that. You can work with the place names, or you can use them as background in articles or such. So it would be a tools hub for citizen historian as well. And this is other tool that exists in real life, but sort of with a new user interface idea that would fit the previous one. This is based on the Estonian project Ajapaik, which is for geotagging historical images, placing them in the geographic places, giving them the dates and the field of view. This is just a concept sketch for finding out the time of a specific photograph. This is a picture where we know who the people are. Somehow these are my relatives. I know when they were born, when they died, so I know how old they might have been at specific times. And then when we start combining things, we could deduce the time or even the month when it was photographed. This would require personal information, or this is already quite old, so this might be possible to do in an open environment. So here, when we first realized that it must be sometime around 1915, so now we can see that it's probably only like summertime, maybe in the spring, because the leaves don't seem to be yet in the trees. So we are sort of forking it to be sometime in the spring of 1915. So this is another test I made with the Zooniverse tools with the same materials. This is an interesting citizen historian or citizen scientist tool set that has been prepared by the Zooniverse. They have created reusable tools for making these kinds of I don't know, I would call them micro tasks. Also these citizen scientist acts that are quite repetitive and restricted as opposed to open participation. And this is also to maybe collect, this is a set of questions that also give some sort of metadata that like classify the images based on several criteria. And this is again, things could be made on mobiles. These are again these kinds of micro tasks. These have been thought for the let's say the mapping purposes. So if I have an old map, I could place it in its place by being in that place, or that I could verify this is not necessarily a mobile task. This one on the left, I have an old map and I have data that has the vectors or the shapes of that place, and then I would say that I could verify whether I see this specific shape on the map. And then I get more data about the map. No. And then this is the other end of the, well, this is no more perhaps citizen science. This is again like when we have used all these mix and match ways of collecting and producing data, then we can start playing with it. So this is perhaps not too scientific.
No, I don't think we should worry too much about what is citizen science and it's not. We should like focus on the knowledge. This is creating something new, or at least linking existing knowledge or whatever. And it's
but this is again for ideas that in this environment of tools, not all the tools are analysis tools. Tools for analysis. They are the tools for presentation or visualization. So I have a link here. Let's just say whether it takes me there or not. Yeah, it does. So this is about this is a so-called story map, and I can use this data. Perhaps this has been handcrafted, but I could use this like pretty automatically as well to create let's say multimedia experiences from that data. Yeah. So let's see if I can go back. So I wonder if, oops, oh yes. So these were just ideas about things to do in an open platform. And I personally, maybe I give this my opinion here. I think that these different motivations, different mindsets for the research topics are sort of just as valid, but the environment can be shared. And I think if the considerations that are used for research environments are thought of in creating this kind of environments, then that data could also, or the platforms could also be used for some serious research. So when we jump into the junior scientists, here is the concept Wikiloikka, which is again reflects in the word digiloikka, the new demands for school teachers to teach the lower grade students, pupils. This is so here. Let's say just the key issue first. I think everyone should participate: the parents, the teachers, the pupils, in doing this all together. It's not. I don't think it's so much. I wouldn't be worried that the children wouldn't learn to use the digital media. They do. Perhaps that we we want to transfer the motivations for using all like the attitude towards openness also to the youngest generation. And I think it may also be a problem that the older generation does not know how to play around with these things to generate new knowledge and understanding. So we should do things together. This is a BBC project Microbit, where they have produced this chip, this board, 1 million copies of it, and sent them to school kids in the UK. There are people doing this already in Finland. Norwegian broadcasting company is planning to do the same. And this Microbit website is full of experiments that school kids have done with this. This one is this Richworth school, which sent their chip to the I don't know which sphere, but up in the air with a helium balloon, and they were photographing and doing all kinds of recordings with it. And then it landed with a parachute, and they were able to gather all the data that they had collected. Yeah. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much.